You're already paying for enterprise-grade security in Microsoft 365, but in a lot of businesses, the locks are there and the doors are still open. Most email breaches I see are not movie hacker stuff. They are boring. A stolen password, an old email protocol, a forwarding rule that nobody noticed, a random app a user approved, or a SharePoint link that quietly became public. So today we are walking through 8 Microsoft 365 settings businesses get wrong all the time. This is the 1-hour admin-centered cleanup that can remove a shocking amount of risk before you buy another tool. Use a demo tenant, test before rollout, and stage changes carefully if you are regulated. But do not ignore these. These are the settings attackers hope you never check. The first mistake is thinking MFA is only for admins. Attackers do not need your global administrator on day one. They can start with accounting, sales, HR, or operations. They get into a normal mailbox, read conversations, wait for an invoice thread, and send the one email that moves money or data. So the question is not, do admins have MFA? The question is, does every user have real MFA coverage? If you are a smaller tenant and you are not using conditional access, check security defaults. They are Microsoft's baseline protections: MFA registration, protection for privileged actions, and blocking of older authentication patterns. If you have Entra ID P1 or P2, conditional access gives you more control. But here is the trap. A lot of tenants have beautiful policies sitting in report-only mode forever. Report-only is not protection. It is a rehearsal, useful for testing, useless if it never gets enabled. Also, do not panic if the old per-user MFA page says disabled. Users may still be covered by security defaults or conditional access. What matters is whether sign-ins are actually challenged when they should be. The fix: every user gets MFA. Admins get stronger MFA. High-risk access gets blocked or challenged, and report-only policies get enabled, adjusted, or removed. If you only do one thing from this video, do this. Next is legacy authentication, the MFA bypass that used to wreck tenants. Older protocols like POP, IMAP, old SMTP auth patterns, and old clients were built for a different internet. If something can authenticate with only a username and password and never properly handle MFA, that path is dangerous. Microsoft has disabled basic authentication in Exchange Online tenants, which is good. Still, check your environment. Old devices, line of business apps, scanners, relays, and forgotten configurations have a way of surviving. If you use conditional access instead of security defaults, make sure you have an explicit legacy auth block unless there is a carefully documented exception. Before blocking, look at sign-in logs. Find what is still trying old protocols. Move copiers to a supported send option. Update or isolate old apps, and fix ancient mail clients. Then block the path. MFA cannot save a sign-in method that never supports MFA in the first place. Next, open your admin roles and count your global admins. Actually count them. If the number is more than 3 or 4, ask why. Not everyone who resets passwords, manages mailbox, or installs software needs global administrator. Global admin is the set of keys to the whole building. Treat it that way. Check 3 things. First, reduce standing privilege. Use the least powerful role that lets someone do the job. Second, separate daily accounts from admin accounts. The mailbox that reads newsletters, opens attachments, and talks to vendors should not also change the tenant-wide security settings. A note here, with modern M365 just-in-time access or PIM controls, account separation is becoming less concerning, as privileged accounts must authenticate for these functions. Third, create proper break glass accounts. These are emergency accounts used only when normal admin access fails. Microsoft recommends at least 2 cloud-only emergency access accounts. They should not depend on your on-prem identity system, and they should be excluded from conditional access policies that could lock you out during the exact emergency they are meant to solve. But excluded does not mean ignored. Monitor them. Alert on every sign-in. test them regularly, and review any real use. This is not glamorous, but it is the difference between a tenant you can manage during an incident and a tenant that turns into chaos. Now let's talk about spoofing. External email tagging is the easy win. Add a visible marker to messages from outside the organization. It is not magic, but it gives people context before they reply to CEO urgent wire transfer emails. Then check SPF, DKIM, and DMARC. Plain English. SPF is the list of servers allowed to send mail for your domain. DKIM is a signature that helps prove the message was not altered and is tied to an authorized sending domain. DMARC tells receiving systems what to do when mail claims to be from your domain but fails alignment. The mistake I see all the time is DMARC stuck at P equals none forever. P equals none is monitoring mode. It helps you discover who sends mail for your domain, but it is not protection, it is surveillance. The goal is P equals none, then quarantine, then reject once legitimate senders are aligned. Do not jump to reject on day one if your email ecosystem is messy. You may break mail from your CRM, billing platform, marketing system, or ticketing tool. But do not treat monitoring as the finish line. Get SPF in shape, enable DKIM, review DMARC reports, then enforce. This next one is the one I want you to pause and check. Mailbox forwarding rules are classic post-breach persistence. An attacker gets into a mailbox, creates a quiet rule that forwards messages to an external address, and leaves. Maybe it only forwards messages with the words like invoice, payroll, payment, wire, bank, or statement. Maybe it marks messages as read. Maybe it deletes replies. Then the user changes their password and everyone thinks the breach is over, but the forwarding rule is still there. Check 3 places: mailbox level forwarding and exchange, user-created inbox rules, and your automatic external forwarding policy in Microsoft Defender or Exchange Online Protection. Modern Microsoft 365 controls external forwarding more safely than it used to, but verify your actual policy. If external forwarding is allowed for everyone, ask why. Most businesses should block it by default and allow only documented exceptions. If you find a rule nobody recognizes, do not just delete it and move on. Disable it, reset the password, revoke sessions, check sign-in and audit logs, and look for other mailbox rules, OAuth grants, and suspicious activity. This check finds real compromises. It is boring, and it works. Pause the video and look at yours. Next is OAuth App Consent, where users give apps permissions to access company data. The scary part? No password has to be stolen. A user clicks consent prompts for a PDF tool, calendar helper, or productivity app. If the app is malicious, the attacker gets a token and the permission the user approved. Go into Microsoft Entra app consent settings. For most businesses, ordinary users should not be able to grant broad access to company data whenever a random app asks. A better pattern is limited consent for low-risk permissions from verified publishers or an admin approval workflow. Then review what already exists. In enterprise applications, look for permissions like mail.read, mail.readwrite, files.readwrite.all, offline access, and anything broader than the business purpose requires. Do not remove mystery apps blindly. Some ugly-looking apps are legitimate, but if an app has broad access, no owner, no business reason, and casual user consent, that is a problem. This is the cloud version of who did we give a key to? And many tenants, nobody knows. Now let's talk about file sharing. SharePoint and OneDrive make collaboration easy. That is the point. But easy sharing can become accidental exposure fast. The setting to watch is anyone with the link. An anyone link means that if someone has the link, they can access the file without signing in. If that link is forwarded, copied into the wrong chat, or leaked from a personal inbox, access follows the link. That may be fine for public brochures. It is not fine as the default for client files, finance documents, HR folders, contracts, legal material, or internal strategy. In the SharePoint Admin Center, review organization level sharing for SharePoint and OneDrive. Then review the default link type. For many businesses, specific people is safer because the link is tied to an intended recipient instead of becoming a portable access pass. If you allow anyone links, require expiration, restrict them to view only where possible, and use stricter settings on sensitive sites. The goal is not to kill collaboration. The goal is to make the safe path the normal path. Last one, audit logging and alerting. Logs do not stop a breach, but they decide whether you can understand one. Microsoft 365 audit logging is on by default for many organizations now, but still verify it. Some small business licenses, trials, and older tenant situations can surprise you. In Microsoft Purview, check Audit. If auditing is not recording activity, turn it on. If you use PowerShell, verify unified audit log ingestion is enabled. Then add alerts for the things that matter. New inbox forwarding rules, external forwarding, admin role changes, OAuth consent grants, risky sign-ins, break glass account use, mass downloads, and unusual external sharing. You do not need a massive security operations center to get value here. Even basic alerting gives you a chance to respond while the incident is still small. Without logs, you're guessing. With logs, you can scope the incident, protect people affected, and prove what did or did not happen. Here is the pattern across all 8 settings. Microsoft gives you strong controls, but it also has to make a product millions of organizations can turn on without breaking their business. Defaults often balance security against friction. Attackers love that gap. They love report-only policies, old clients, too many admins, weak email authentication, forwarding rules, app consent sprawl, anonymous links, and tenants with no usable logs. This is shared responsibility. The cloud provider gives you the platform. You still have to configure your side of the lock. Here is the practical version. This week, give yourself one focused hour and check MFA coverage, legacy authentication, and mailbox forwarding rules. Those are the breach stoppers. Next week, come back for admin hygiene, SPF, DKIM DMARC, OAuth consent, SharePoint and OneDrive sharing, and audit alerting. And if you use Google Workspace, the concepts are almost the same. MFA, old protocols, admin roles, forwarding, app access, sharing, and logs. Comment if you want the Workspace version. If you want a pro to run this, plus the deeper 40-item version against your Microsoft 365 tenant, Viso Group can help. Click the first link below. And if you're doing this yourself, start with the forwarding rules check. Seriously, pause the video, check it, and come back. Check the videos on screen as they pair nicely with this one. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.